All right, forecast. Yes. If we first of all take a look at the dollar, then what we are seeing on the dollar is that we actually came into the overlapping part right there, which is quite interesting. But the only thing is that we are currently coming into the overlapping part and we are also sweeping that high. So actually with this newest fair value gap enrollment and with the fair value gap first session actually that we had, a great thing that you can do is you can mark out the low or sorry the high right there of the first candle. And what we want to see is of course that fair value gap higher being created on the daily time frame. If not, then this is going to be very suspicious and I would almost expect lower prices as well. Now, on the 4 hour, we are clearly seeing as well that this is quite concerning. Why is that concerning? Because we are sweeping a premium array, as in we are respecting a premium array right there, almost creating a sharp turn lower as well. So I am not too convinced right now on actually seeing higher prices. So this is definitely something that we have to keep in mind right here, seeing what it actually wants to do, and it's paired with a lot of patience as well right now. So that would be my advice. Having that line on your chart helps a lot though. Now, moving on to ES, what are we seeing? We have reached that first target on that Monday, what we saw. Afterwards, we are now continuing higher as well. 4 hour value gaps could be actually quite nice to continue higher off of that. If the dollar wants to continue lower, then ES, NASDAQ, YM right here, to continue higher could be very interesting. NASDAQ actually had quite an interesting move higher as well. We mentioned was a live session in Discord actually, where we saw the sweep happen right there. And if we got a 15 minutes for value gap higher right there, it could be very interesting to continue higher off of that. Eventually, when we look to follow through, 4 hour for value gaps right now to target the all-time high could be very, very interesting as well. Then if we take a look at YM, YM came into the overall fair value area with the fair value gap right there as well. So if we can continue higher, then I would expect higher prices from here. Could be interesting as well tomorrow. DAX hasn't really been doing anything and just been consolidating overall, did not create a new fair value gap. So here, I simply also don't really want to look to get involved. Australian dollar, US dollar. Now, this is currently, again, not really doing anything, just simply consolidating. If the dollar finally wants to continue lower, then this can expect some movement as well. If the dollar wants to continue higher, of course, you can also expect some movement. And I would mainly be waiting for that. Then EU right here. This is the same thing that we actually saw last week on GU on the daily time frame. Where, do you remember we talked about in the breakdown video, this third candle of that value gap is respecting a discount array and then very aggressively moving higher. EU right there is doing the exact same thing, but then on the 4 hour, where the third candle right there is respecting a discount array to then explode higher almost. This is not necessarily something I would want to trade off of. And the reason being is because if we want to continue lower, we should disrespect discount arrays and respect premium arrays. We should not respect discount arrays and then sort of almost respect premium arrays as well. No, we either respect discount arrays or premium arrays if we have a clear trend in the market. So this right here is where I don't necessarily want to look for shorts. I just simply want to wait as well. Don't really want to do anything. Then if we take a look at GU right here, it's also not super interesting and it's in the same position as we talked about yesterday as well. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, let's see. This came into the 4 hour order block as well to continue lower off that. Didn't really get lower prices currently, so here I still want to wait. It's just not super clean. US dollar, Canadian dollar as well, simply waiting for the dollar to show its hand. And when the dollar shows its hand, then we can do something on USD Canadian dollar potentially. US dollar CHF, like mentioned, not really interesting and I don't want to do anything here. US dollar JPY. So this is currently interesting, but also something you would want to avoid. And in the live session, we actually mentioned, I do not really like this move continuing lower, but eventually we continued higher right there, creating a 4 hour value gap as well. The only thing is that with the dollar having that rejection right there on the 4 hour as well, and US dollar JPY right there, having this rejection lower right there. Is it actually bound? Is it going to take those highs? Well, this is where I would want to take a step back, and I'm not too certain anymore on if it actually wants to take those highs. Just purely based on how the dollar reacted when we took those highs right there. That's very important. So US dollar JPY right here, I want to wait a little bit more, and off that 4-hour value gap, 4-hour breaker as well, still looking nice, but a little bit more confirmation there's nothing wrong with that. So I would expect, or I would want, if I want to get involved again, I would want a little bit more confirmation here, 15-minute ST plus RE, for example, instead of just a 5-minute ST plus RE. Then looking at silver, silver has been continuing higher actually, and we have created a very small fair value gap, which is again not something I am interested in right here. Then the same goes for gold, where it's just consolidating, don't really want to do anything here. Bitcoin, let's see. Bitcoin reached the target. Now, currently it's a fight. It's a fight between that weekly fair value gap right there, the bullish fair value gap, and the daily bearish fair value gap. So, who is going to win the fight? Well, we know that by simply waiting for a new daily fair value gap higher or lower. And that will give a great indication of what it actually wants to do. And crude oil. This is a consolidation that we could have seen coming. And the reason I mentioned that is because yesterday we mentioned we did not create an expansion phase of a new daily fair value gap. And in order for me to actually target and to get involved in crude oil again, I simply want to see order flow on a daily time frame be confirmed again. In the meantime, I just want to wait. So that is when we don't get the new daily fair value gap, we start to consolidate again. Just not something I would want to get involved in. Then looking at Nifty, we see a beautiful rejection lower right there. And as expected, right, it's absolutely beautiful, where this is now definitely the target as well. Looking at the long list, US dollar JPY, we talked about it, not super interested. If we get the extra confirmation, I will again be interested, but currently, no, I simply want to wait. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. So this is where we have news tomorrow as well. We had a rejection higher already. We did not have news supporting the ID though. So is it crazy that it feels? Not too crazy. I want to see tomorrow if we can create a new fair value gap higher. Then I might be interested to get involved. But here it still requires some patience. It's still waiting right here. Still a lot of waiting. Australian dollar JPY. We came into the daily fair value gap right there, and we saw we already expanded higher off of that, and we created a 4-hour fair value gap. So after coming below that low again, it doesn't make sense for me to trade that again. So here, I'm also going to add this to the breakdown list. I am not interested in this anymore. The waiting list. EU, not interested. US dollar, Canadian dollar, not interested. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar as well. Is this a glitch right there? Let me actually confirm. I'm not too sure what happened with this candle right there. Let's see. Why is it doing that? It's very odd. Anyway, this on the 4-hour time frame, we already saw the 4-hour value gap, which did not get respected. We were very close to the drawn liquidity. Oh, actually, we reached it. My bad. We reached it right there. So currently, I also don't want to do anything anymore because we already reached that drawn liquidity. So I'm going to add it to the breakdown list. Canadian dollar JPY. This is in the exact same boat as the US dollar JPY. Daily fair value gap coming off of that. 4-hour fair value gap higher as well. First instance, this looks extremely nice, as in I really like this price action right here. Now, for us to actually be bullish, I want this next candle to close in this fair value gap. So I don't want a bearish fair value gap to be created. Next to that, if I want to get involved, I would want a little bit more confirmation than just a 5-minute ST plus RE right there, to confirm that we are indeed actually bullish. But other than that, I do quite like this. Euro, Australian dollar, let's see. We are looking to potentially continue higher, but it's still waiting here. Nothing really interesting. Euro JPY came into the daily fair value gap right there. Let's see on the 4-hour actually. Nothing yet. So here, still waiting. Euro, New Zealand dollar. Let's see. Reach the target. I'm actually going to add this to the breakdown list right now because I'm not super interested in anything anymore here. I say that, but I do think that this can potentially deliver lower right there with the overall breaker as well. Coming off of the weekly, right there, weekly target reached. Then on the daily time frame, no Verweigap higher. So this right here is actually a target. So for shorts, this could actually be quite interesting overall. We have 4 hour Verweigap. Let's see if we already have something on the 5 minute or anything. No, we do not. I'm not too sure actually when CPI happens on New Zealand dollar or if it already happened. It could be 21.45 actually, I'm not too sure. This could be quite interesting overall. Definitely keeping an eye on it. GBP New Zealand dollar, let's see. Daily, not super interesting. 4 hour, we disrespect this 4 hour Verweigap. I don't really want to do anything here and don't really want to get involved right here, not too clear to me. So if I'm looking at anything, I'm looking at US dollar JPY, Canadian dollar JPY, and also at Euro New Zealand dollar right there. Those are quite interesting to me. The rest is just simply, again, waiting. All right, perfect. Thank you.